What I'd like to do in this talk is share my enthusiasm for a paper that was published some time ago now, in 2000, but it remains one of my favourite papers when it comes to thinking about how you analyse qualitative data. And the paper's called Producing Possible HANAs, Theory and the Subject of Research. And what's brilliant about this piece is it takes the same data set, which is recordings of a child, a 12-year-old girl at school, and it analyses it through three different perspectives. The first is Discourse Theory, the second Post-Structuralism, and the third Ethnomethodology and Conversation Analysis. So in this paper you get the three major perspectives on discourse. Discourse, the main idea of that is that the social world is constructed through talk and also through texts. They talk about discourse in terms of a big D and a little d, and some of the big Ds might be memberships that you're allotted to in life, whereas smaller d discourses are roles that you take on. And they say that displays of social identity and discourse membership are multiple and always under negotiation in the context, practices and politics of everyday life. So from that perspective, you have Hannah, the 12-year-old girl, membership of the nice girl discourse, with her taking part in funny sketches. So that's framework one, the big D and little d discourse theory. The second perspective they use to look at the same data is post-structuralist reading, and this is a view of personality as something that's continually being realised. And they have this wonderful sentence, this phrase: subjects are contradictory because they are constituted through contradictory discourses. So that means that solves this problem that you have in big D and little discourse theory, that there's no tension between the nice girl Hannah and the raucous Hannah, because you have a view of personality as something continually being constructed, and people are themselves contradictory because of these contradictory discourses. And so what they say is that in this view, Hannah is successfully drawing on different discursive perspectives to position herself in ways that others recognise as legitimate and even laudable. So those are the first two perspectives. They also have, just briefly, a very nice description of what post-structuralist discourse means. They say it's a move away from the self as a noun, and thus something stable and relatively fixed, to the self as a verb, something always in process. The third and final framework they use is ethnomethodology and conversation analysis, and this basically involves what they describe as reading Hannah as a character in the classroom scene. So there's much more of an emphasis on the context and the space within which Hannah realises who she is. And they say that the aim of this approach is to situate Hannah within and against the classroom as a social and moral space. So having described those three different views of the social world, the first, discourse theory, is a world full of big and little discourses; the second, post-structuralism, a world full of positionings; and the third, ethnomethodology and conversation analysis, a world full of talk and interaction in different scenes. They say that there are these different possible Hannahs, and that's where you come back to the title of the paper. Hannah as a practitioner and negotiator of discourses; Hannah as a subject of power who, through her positioning and recognisability, is able to surpass the limits of power assigned to her; and third, Hannah as a participating member of interactive research scenes. And their overall conclusion from the paper is that studies of method of inquiry are at least as informative as studies of documentary materials for showing the constitutive force of theory in qualitative data analysis. So what Honan, Noble, Baker and Davies do is they take a brilliant turn on looking at qualitative data, and they foreground theory, and they show that that's theory that constitutes data. So that's why that's one of my favourite papers. Hope that you enjoy reading it, and if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.